It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So yesterday you made it through the first day of winter, and now we're going to be in winter season until March 20th. That will be the start of spring 2026. What does the season of winter have to offer? Well, it usually brings us the shortest days of the year. Technically, yesterday was our shortest day, 10 hours, 11 minutes long of daylight. Today will also be a day with 10 hours and 11 minutes of daylight, but it might be a second or two longer than yesterday. Eventually, we'll notice even more daylight as we get closer to spring. But the best part about it is once you go through the shortest day, it's all uphill from there, right? So starting today, the days begin to finally get longer now that the shortest day is behind us. Hey, in winter in South Mississippi, freezing temperatures, they're common. We see them every year many times, and sometimes we see them multiple months of the winter season. And as far as snow and ice are concerned, those are actually rare. We don't see that every year down here. So if you're expecting a white Christmas or you're expecting ice storm in January, February, don't get your hopes up too high because that is not the way it works for us. But sometimes it does. You remember last January, of course, big old historic snowstorm locally. So what does this week, the first week of winter, have to offer us weather-wise? Well, if you stepped outside this morning, you'll notice there's a dampness in the air. And that's to do with some fog as well as some rain showers that we are seeing Monday morning. You see, what happened overnight while you were in bed asleep is a cool front moved in from the northwest. I can draw what that looks like on our map here. The front's position was to our north and east, and it moved in like this. But now that front has stopped. It has stalled because it has moved away from its upper level forcing, and it's just a front that's just sitting there, so it's stationary, and it's no longer a cool front, it's a stationary front. That's what we've marked there. So this stationary front and this boundary is actually going to eventually fall apart later today. Until it does, though, it appears that it is still kicking up a little cluster of rain showers nearby. So that's the reason why we are seeing some rain lingering. It's also the reason why we are not going to see these cooler temperatures, Memphis 49, Atlanta 49, we are not going to see that roll all the way down to the Mississippi coast. Even though some of our neighbors in North Mississippi are chilly this morning, that cooler air has no hope of coming all the way down here because the front has stopped moving. So we can't get it down here. And that's going to keep us on the milder side. And this time of year, when you're in the winter season, but you have milder temperatures, that's what gets the gears of the fog machine to get going. And that's why it's going to be a common sight for us this week to find fog. Maybe that's why they wrote that song with the lyric, "Then one foggy Christmas Eve." And boy, oh boy, we're going to have a foggy Christmas Eve here. We'll get to that specific forecast in a moment. But talking about today, there's a dense fog advisory. It's been in place through 10 a.m. So we still have another 90 minutes or so, I guess 80 minutes, 79 minutes, if you want to be specific, until it hits 10 o'clock this morning. And hopefully by then we'll see the expiration of the dense fog advisory. You'll note that it's not just the Mississippi coast, but also areas west of us. And frankly, that's where the lowest visibility numbers have been coming in. It doesn't mean we've been clear here, but it just means that we haven't had it as bad as our neighbors west of us in Texas and in Louisiana. You take a more zoomed in view of our visibility map, and you can see there are some places where it's foggier. Southern Harrison County, near Lyman, near Gulfport, Biloxi, Long Beach, parts of Pass Christian. And there's some places where it's not as foggy, maybe closer to Picayune. So that's something that we'll be dealing with for the first part of the day. We're also dealing with some rain chances. We showed you the zoomed out radar a moment ago. And there still are some chances for some rain showers this morning, but not everyone will see them, and eventually we'll get that rain chance to decrease as the sky becomes less cloudy later today. Temperatures by then, if we can get some peaks of sun, they should make it close to 70 by this afternoon, which technically will be a degree or two less mild from yesterday. But that's because we had a cool front move through the area earlier this morning. So that is why today's high might not make it as high as yesterday's high temp. Now there's a look at first alert radar. We're seeing some of the last few showers of the morning hours. They've really been picking on our coastal counties, Jackson, Harrison, parts of Hancock counties. Seeing this very persistent ever since yesterday evening. Some places wound up picking up some really heavy rain amounts since yesterday in parts of Harrison County, especially near parts of Biloxi. But again, this is kind of the tail end of this. The later we go into the day, the lower the rain chances will be. So there you go during the 8 o'clock hour, still seeing that 20 to 30% rain chance. And then as we get to noon, the chance for rain decreasing to 20% everywhere. Eventually it decreases to maybe even just 10% by the time we get to this evening. So we are eventually going to see those rain chances slim up. So if you're not getting any rain today, then you're not going to have much hope of it by the time we get to Christmas, because the rain chances are going to be near 0%. Beginning tonight and tomorrow, and continuing Christmas Eve Wednesday, continuing Christmas Day Thursday, which is great for travel. You don't have to worry about wet roads from rain. Problem is, even though we might get rid of the rain chance, we are probably not going to get rid of the fog. And I think we haven't seen the worst of it yet. Any fog you got out there this morning, imagine that multiplying by 2, maybe by 3. It is going to probably get worse once we get to Christmas Eve Wednesday, as well as Christmas Day Thursday, both in the spatial extent of it. We're expecting more widespread fog, but also in the density of it. We're expecting the visibility to be even worse on Christmas Eve Wednesday. This is a look at Wednesday morning, but it's probably going to come back Wednesday evening and stick around through Christmas Day Thursday morning as well. And it might come back Thursday night and stick around in Friday morning too. It seems like the least foggy morning out of all these could be tomorrow morning. Even that does have some. I know it's not that big on your screen, but if we make it a little bit bigger, you can see there is indeed some fog along the Mississippi coast tomorrow morning. But your Wednesday morning, your Thursday morning, those are going to be the foggiest mornings of the week. So, you know, like the song says, Santa will need Rudolph's nose so bright to guide his sleigh on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. But also, if he were flying on Wednesday morning, which if he's getting presents to the whole planet, he probably would be flying on Wednesday morning. That would also be a time frame that we're going to be dealing with a good amount of fog. So even though we've got the rain showers to start off our Monday, that's going to be old news. By the time we get to this afternoon, the rain's gone and it's not coming back for the rest of the holiday time frame. But the fog will be a problem that persists. A daily round of fog can't be ruled out for this entire week. And like I explained earlier, it is partly to do because of these milder temperatures. Anytime you get milder temperatures during the winter season, that is warm air over cold water. Warm air rises, cold air sinks. You get this stagnation, fog forms. It's kind of a form of sea fog, if you will, and it just moves ashore and it sticks around near the coast. It's very easy to come by this type of fog when you have warmer temperatures during the winter season. Now, you see those warmer temperatures there, but it's not going to be record-setting. For Christmas Day Thursday, for example, that's a high of 71. Now, that's on the coast. I will say, if we look at the split of coast versus inland for the next 4 afternoons, we'll see that it's a little bit warmer inland. So Thursday for Christmas, you got 71 for places like Gulfport, Biloxi, maybe Pascagoula. And then for inland, north of I-10 for the most part, you're seeing a high of 75 on Christmas Day Thursday, places like Wiggins, Saucier, Van Cleve. Now, for Gulfport, Biloxi, your record warmest Christmas day is 76. We're not forecasting that. Yeah, it'll be above normal, but it's not going to be record setting. And I've seen so much hyperbole, so much exaggeration about this. You know, that's fine, I guess. I've heard, oh, it's going to be a scorching, torching hot Christmas. 71, really? Is that scorching, torching hot to you? How did you survive August? I know it's not as cool as it usually is, and it's not as chilly as you want it to be. A lot of people like a cold holiday, but I'm sure if we had a high of 20 degrees on Thursday, we'd hear complaints about that too. So I think there's not a whole lot to complain about when it comes to 71 degrees on Christmas Day. Your air conditioner might not even cut on that day. I mean, a high of 71, that means the rest of the day won't hit that, right? You only hit the high for 1 or 2 hours in the afternoon. What temperature does your AC cut on at? Does it click on at 71? I doubt it. So you're probably not going to be using a whole bunch of air conditioning on Thursday when we have a high of 71 on the coast. Maybe for some of our inland areas where we make it to the middle 70s, that could be more of a reality. But I've got good news for you. If you've stuck around to the end of this video, congratulations. We're going to do a very early peek at what could possibly await us after Christmas. But to get there, let's start with today. Today, here's the upper pattern. We have a high located here, and there's actually a big upper ridge over the middle plains. This is going to promote a warm pattern over the upper plains, and with the situation that we have going on here, this is really going to help us to see this warmer air come around out of the Gulf like this. So it's a warm pattern for today, and this pattern likely persists for the rest of this week. But once we get past the weekend, that's when things could change. This is a week from today, Monday, December 29th. What do we see? That high is gone. Instead, replacing it, we have an East Coast trough, a low that's developing over here. And I guess there would be a high back off to the west, closer to the high plains. So what this is going to do is pull in a cooler wind coming in from the north. So that's how we're going to get this pattern to flip for us. There are early signs that the pattern could flip as we go to early next week. Sometime between this Sunday and next Monday, a cold front could possibly move across South Mississippi. So even though we don't see any effect of that in the short term, once we get to the long range forecast, which is not set in stone, by the way, and can change, but for now, there are early signs that we could see cooler conditions. When that Sunday into Monday cold front arrives, we could see afternoons dropping into the chilly 50s and mornings falling into the cold 30s. You're looking at Tuesday, December 30th, a morning temperature of 34 on the coast. It'll be even colder inland. An afternoon high of 53. New Year's Eve, Wednesday, December 31st, morning low of 37 on the coast. Could be frosty. And then an afternoon high of 56 on the coast for the afternoon. So it's still pretty chilly. Now, if we show you both 10 days, you'll see that the inland areas are usually colder in the mornings, and we do see those temperatures dropping a little bit there. Like I said, 34 Tuesday morning, could be 31 Tuesday morning in a place like Wiggins. So that could be a freeze, you know, protecting people, pets, and plants. Not pipes. You need 20s, middle 20s for pipes. It doesn't look like that. But it is a light freeze. And it might be another one as we go to Wednesday morning, New Year's Eve morning. Could be another one where we're nearing the freezing temperature, 32, and needing to protect people, pets, and plants. But again, not pipes. So something to keep an eye on as we get down the line. It's not set in stone, but there are early signs of a post-Christmas cool down, with the long-range computer models showing that we could get a cold front coming into the area sometime between Sunday and early next week. And there's that potential for cold mornings in the 30s and afternoon highs in the chilly 50s. So if you are a cold weather fan, I'm sorry that we couldn't get this one for you for Christmas. The present is coming in late. You'll have to wait until after Christmas to unwrap the gift of cooler temperatures. But it could be getting here before we ring in the new year. So something to keep in mind We'll keep you posted on any changes to the forecast as we monitor the latest updates in the coming days. So be sure to stick tuned to WLOX First Alert Weather as we bring you the latest on the mild weather this week and the possible changes for some of us as we go to next week. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.